where and how to access it. All right. So let's see how it works. Today is a lot of testing, a lot of news. Also, the time is a test. Normally, I prefer to run webinars in the morning, but today I decided to make it accessible also on people on other time zones, and therefore who were actually subscribing and requesting for a different time. And so the idea is that since this webinar is the English version, let's try to do it on a easier time zone for some of us. Okay, do you guys see my slides?
No.
Not yet. Okay, fine. So let me share my slides. You should see them in a second.
Yes.
All right, very good. Okay, once again, for those who have just joined, you can talk to me, unmute yourself, or just type in the chat. I always have the chat under my eyes. And so if you interact with me, I will see you interacting, right? Okay, cool. Now, let's start right away. Today we talk about colors. You know, the lean presentation design is a methodology created for two main reasons. The first one is we need you to become more efficient in making presentations. This means no wrong decision that cause rework, no time-consuming reworks. Because I mean, it's fine to do some rework in presentations, but if you are the cause of your reworks, or if you are not taking the right decisions that might therefore take you to rework, then this is a waste of time. And in the lean methodologies applied to presentation design, we avoid waste, we optimize waste, reduce waste. This is one thing, efficiency. The second thing is effectiveness. Your slides don't need to be more beautiful, it's fine, more appealing, it's fine, but what we're really looking for is for more effective slides. What does it mean? It means that we need slides that actually make the message go through, pass the message effectively at a glance, depending on the context. If you're presenting, the message has to go through at a glance. But if you are sending them, then maybe it is different, right? Still, we want to have your slides optimized for your audience, whether they need to read them or they need to get them presented. Fine. Talking about colors is a big matter, because colors, I was running a poll on LinkedIn today. On the event, I created an event for the webinar, and I was running a poll in which I asked you if you choose colors, if you find yourself choosing your colors for your presentations, or if you have to stick to a corporate template, or eventually if you just you don't know what you're really doing with colors and you wanted to learn more, which actually was an option that people liked. Anyway, what I noticed is that there are many people that actually have these common situation in which they find themselves, which is, I need to find colors for my presentation. Which colors do I choose? Because, you know, you can select the colors that you like, the colors that you find more beautiful, but who will tell you that those colors are the colors that will better work for your audience? Nobody. Therefore, we need to make sure that we calculate them in the best way to be more effective. And we have to do that in a time-effective way, so fast. Colors are traditionally organized on what we call the color wheel, right? Basically, you have three circles in this wheel. You have the hue, which is a pure color, and then you can add some black or some white to it, and therefore you're moving inwards or outwards compared to the center of this circle. Now, by doing that, we say that you modify the value of a color. This can be done in PowerPoint, this can be done in Google Slide, all the presentation tools, main presentation tools. This is an easy thing that you can do. This is true for shapes, for icons, for text, but it's not true for images. If you work with images, well, then you will need to work with saturation or desaturation, right? Which is completely different. which is completely different because you cannot color an image, right? So what you have to do is absorb the color of the image or saturate the image and therefore make it more vivid. Now, you can easily do that from PowerPoint, also from G-Slide, or again, main presentation tools. In PowerPoint is just color, and you select the filter. By doing that, you are desaturating the image. So there are slides in which we have foregrounds which are saturated and backgrounds which are desaturated. And this takes me to show you what we call the focus effects in presentations. What's the focus effect? Focus effect is normally performed as a circle, like in this slide, or it could have different shapes. The idea is to highlight a specific part of an image. A specific part of an image, which is the focus for us. And that's why this effect takes the name of focus effect. Laurie, welcome to join. This effect is very widely used in presentations, can be used in many different occasions, but very often it is used to drive people's attention from one side to the other in the slides, especially when you're working with screenshots. For example, you are explaining a software, like in this case, you see I can move from one side to the other and attract attention of people from one side to the other of the slide with no need to use any laser pointer around. Now, this is a presentation in real estate in which they were wrapping up the key points, and they were doing that with a building effect on focus effect. How do we actually do the focus effect? So I want to dedicate the first part of this webinar to show you how we create the focus effect in PowerPoint. So let me stop my slide sharing and let's jump straight away into something very pragmatic. You know that I like to make things very concrete, and so this, I believe, is a good opportunity to show you. So let me share my second screen here. I'm using multiple screens, so I can always have your chat under my eyes in case you write me. I'm always there and I can answer. All right, so what do we have here? You see an empty slide, right? So the first thing I do is I will import a generic picture, okay? I will import a picture of whatever. Let's look for a meeting. Let's be serious. Okay, so we import the picture of a meeting. The way I'm doing that is I'm using my toolbar. I know that most of you are using it, and I'm very happy you're using it to make your presentations more efficient. The MLC toolbar is a set of about 30 buttons that I created for PowerPoint that speeds us up, makes our presentation more accurate. And in this case, I'm accessing my images libraries, in which I can have access to millions of free stock photos, completely free from copyright, and free to be used. Now, those pictures, I chose the one that I think is the best one for what we're doing. I will feed it to my slide, and here it is. Now, it's time to create the focus effect. How do we do that? First, I will duplicate the slide. How do I duplicate on the go? I use Control-D shortcut. Duplicate stands for duplicate, Control-D. Right. Now I center it. As you can see, I'm using the quick access toolbar to center it. So I have a few buttons here at end that allow me to save a lot of clicks. What I've just done would have costed you, without the quick access toolbar, from 6 to 8 clicks. But I've just done it in 2 clicks, which means a lot of time saved. Now, in other webinars, I explain how to set up the quick access toolbar, and there is also a webinar that I recorded in which I explained how to use my toolbar. Therefore, if you are interested into how them work, you will see them in the recording of previous sessions. Now, the first thing I will have to do here is crop the image on top. So I have the 2 of them overlaid. I will crop the one on top. But before cropping it, I will apply an aspect ratio crop to the frame, right? To the cropping frame. Fine. Why am I doing that? Because I want to get a circle. The traditional focus effect, it is a circle. Now, I know that it can be a square, it can be whatever shape you like, but traditionally it is a circle. And therefore, I want to start to show you the traditional version of it. Now, if I want to get a circle, the first thing I have to do is to get a 1-to-1 ratio in the cropping frame. Because if I don't have a 1-to-1 ratio, it's not going to be easy to get a circle out of my crop. Now that I've cropped it, what I will do is I will apply apply a an oval, and so this is recently it is deforming my images, but it is fine. I will adjust it. Okay, so this is my circle. You see, it's a perfect circle because it's an 1-by-1 ratio oval, and since I set the aspect ratio 1 to 1-by-1, the oval becomes a circle. Now I have to squeeze it, but you have to watch out, because if you squeeze it freehand like I'm doing right now, it will not be a circle anymore, and you don't have such a stable end to make sure that it sticks to a circle. Now, do you guys know how I can resize something? And I know there are people who have just done my course, so some of you should know, how can I resize something keeping the ratio of it? Yeah, so I want to resize it. I want to make this circle smaller, but I want to keep the ratio of it. Which shortcut shall I use? Any suggestion? You can write in the chat if you don't want to tell me. Unmuting yourself. I will wait for some more seconds. I know some of you do know that. Come on, don't be shy. So I will re-ask the question. I want to resize this circle. Okay, but I want it to be a circle. Aha, I see. Shift plus corner. Okay, so the question was clear. It's just that some of you is shy. All right, so shift drag. Therefore, I press shift on my keyboard, because when I press shift on my keyboard, I am basically creating a constraint. So in this case, I'm creating a constraint. I'm locking the ratio. So as you can see, I can move my mouse the way I want, but it will always be a circle. Why? Because I'm pressing shift on my keyboard. Now, to give you a quick demo of what I'm saying, you see I can design a circle here, but if I keep pressing shift, it will always be a circle. Now, of course, if I resize it without shift, I will deform it. But if I resize it by pressing shift, it keeps the ratio, which is very important. It's what we're trying to do here. Now, this is the image that I cropped, and this is the image that stands in background. What do I have to do? Well, easy. What I do here is I will desaturate the image in background. So let me take the image behind. I go picture format, color, and I select desaturation 100%. Now, as you can see, since I desaturated the background, what I get is a specific focus here. Now, common mistake, you move the image. If you move the image, the effect is lost, because the effect works thanks to a perfect overlay of the two images, right? Now, the focus effect can be strengthened. For example, I didn't use any outline, but I might want to use an outline here. So this is an outline that I might want to use. I can reinforce the outline or keep it small. So you see, with the outline, I'm emphasizing the focus effect. Now, this is attracting the attention of people straight to that point. Attracting attention of people, for us, it is crucial when we work with presentations, because when you guys move from when you move on, you move to the next slide, you're already doing too many things. You are presenting, you are thinking what you have to say, you're coordinating, you're emphasizing with your audience, you're talking to them, you're looking at them, how are they reacting? Are they blinking with their eyes? Am I losing them? So you're always there connected to them. You cannot also have a laser pointer and go around the slides. I mean, this is primitive, right? So what you want is that when you move to the next slide, people go immediately to a specific point on your slide, which is the point that you expect them to be at a certain moment in time. Therefore, you can coordinate the transition of your slides when you move to the next slide to the specific effect that you have on your slides. Meaning, I always move to the next slide when I want my audience to move their eyes to the next slide. So I'm talking, and then when it is the moment in which I know they need to see something that is on the next slide, then I click. And therefore I coordinate this overall interaction with my slide deck by moving to the next slide at a specific point in time. When I send the eyes of people, of my audience, to the specific slide, I need to know 100% the exact point where they're going. And this is why the next thing that we are going to do is bring this effect to life by making it dynamic. How do we do that? We need to move it, but you need to be very much aware of the fact that you cannot move the image, as I said. So we need to move the cropping frame, which is very sensitive to do. I will show you how it works. The first thing I will do is I will duplicate this slide. So once again, the shortcut for duplication, remind, is Control-D. I have published a collection of a short list of my favorite shortcuts, those that I concretely use. It's a handout document. It's nicely designed, easy to use, and available for free on my website. So if any of you doesn't have it or you desire to get it, just type it into the chat, and at the end of the webinar, I will share the link for you to find it. It's free. Okay. So I get to this second slide, which basically is the same of my first slide. What I want to do here is I want to make this focus moving. Moving means to be in a second position, right? So where do I want to move it? I don't know, but we will see. So I activate the crop, but this time I just click here. I see people just opening the crop menu here and then select the crop here. Guys, it is the same. Save one click, you can. What can I do here? Two things. I can resize it from the black handles. I need to be very much aware of the fact that I don't have to touch these ones, which are the white handles. Now, the white handles, guys, be sure those are the handles of the size to resize the image. If I move these handles, I will resize the image and therefore lose the perfect overlapping between the two pictures, and I will lose the focus effect. So no touching the white handles. In this case, no touching the black handles either. What I'm doing is I need you to pay attention. So focus on this. Do you see this white line here in between the black handles? It's here, it's here, it's here, it's here, 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 and here. So this tiny little line, which is very difficult to select, right? Because you really need to be on it to select it. But this tiny line you can use to move your cropping frame. You see, I'm dragging the circle, right? And I moved it to another position. Now I will duplicate the slide again, and here we go. I will move it again, and I will move it here. I can even add text labels, okay, to it. Oops, sorry, that was wrong. All right, so there was a lot of text. Okay, so I might want to add a text label here. Okay, so like this. And I also can create labels for self-sending slides. Now, this is not particularly beautiful, but it's just to show you how it could be. Now, the effect is the following. Look at me. You see, when I move, let me make it bigger. When I move from one slide to the other, this is what happens. You see the circle, it's kind of moving. It is not really moving. This is given by the fact that I have the slide perfectly they are exactly the same, but when I move from one slide to the other, what happens is that the only thing that differs is the circle, and therefore you might be feeling that it's moving. Actually, the effect of this, it is going to attract attention, and this is powerful, guys, very powerful. Because it attracts attention, it tells you where it tells people where they need to be in a specific moment in time. Okay, so this is the focus effect. I'm not going to stop here too long. You have the recording, and so you can practice it at home afterwards. Also because we have a lot more things to do and a big surprise for some of you, because as I said, the case study today is about the company of somebody who is in the meeting with us today. Okay, Douglas, I'm very happy you appreciated it. It's very powerful, especially when you're presenting software or you're working with images, right? With screenshot as well. It's a very powerful tool. Okay, cool. Now, let me move to the next cool technique, which is, okay, I told you that sometimes we can use branding colors, which are colors of the brand we're working for. And we will try this in the case study today for the company I selected. But this is not always the case, because sometimes we need to find our own way and choose our own colors. So how do you choose colors when you make presentations? Because if I go here, I select something and I start using the branding palette from PowerPoint, I don't want to say they're ugly, but do they really fit to each other? The reality is, guys, that colors don't always fit to each other. There are some colors that you can combine, and there are other colors that you cannot combine between each other. So how do we choose colors? It's simple. We don't choose them. We calculate them. Yes, we do calculate colors. How do we calculate color palettes? Technically speaking, it's not very difficult, but I will need you to follow me to see how this is concretely done. So let me show you this. Let me share with you some slide. All right. Okay. Okay, cool. So you will see my screen in a second. Oops, I have to swap it. Here you go. All right. So how do we concretely calculate colors? In reality, there are what we call color combinations. Color combinations, and these are the most famous one, monochromatic, analogous, and complementary, are combinations of colors that tell you that if you give me a color, like for example, in this slide, you want to give me the color, you see the circle. If you look at the analogous, you look at the circle in the middle, it has a small arrow into it. That is the given color. Now, starting from a given color, I'm able to calculate other 4 colors that will compose a color palette that is consistent and works effectively. In the analogous, they are close in the color wheel. Monochromatic is the same color, just differs by the value. And in complementary, they are opposite 180 degrees on the color wheel. Now, let me show you how we concretely calculate colors when we are working on PowerPoint. I actually prepared a nice case study for you here, which I think is worth it to see. So I basically went through this slide and I redesigned it for you. Of course, it's ugly, but what I wanted to show you is the way it can be redesigned. So let me apply the monochromatic color combination. As you can see, it's very calm, very professional, and that is why the monochromatic color combination is one of the most professional color combination we can use, but it's also one of the easiest ones. Analogous is a bit more complicated, a bit more ambitious. I don't personally love it as a color combination. Still, it is part of the color combinations. It's worth it to know. Eventually, you can have a check. And complementary is my favorite one because it gives movement and dynamics to your presentation. Therefore, it's a very nice one. How can we do that? This is the basic of branding. How can we select the colors of a brand? Well, the way, what we do, technically speaking, then there are other variables that might come into play, but technically speaking, we do something that is very simple. We make use of a software, a famous software that I will show you in a second, that is available online for free. The software is called Adobe Color, and the way it works is very simple. Basically, I have a given color. So I have a color that might be, let me take a color from the case study today. So I start giving you some tips about what can be the case study, who can be the selected case study today, the selected company today. Let me show you. This is one of their branding color. Okay, this is one of their branding colors. Okay, this is, you see, analogous color combination. So it's going to calculate the colors. This is a monochromatic color combination. And this one is a complementary color combination. Now, basically what I'm doing is I copied here the X code, the hexadecimal code of the given color that I took from PowerPoint. I'll show you. Let me show you. So this is the color that I'm using. You see here. So I basically go shape fill, more fill color, and here I have the given color. So this is the color from which I'm starting. This is the color of my brand, for example, or a color that I like from which I want to start. I need to build my color palette. So I take this X code, or eventually I can use the RGB. If you have older versions of PowerPoint, it works anyway. I'm using X because it's faster, but RGB is fine. 235, 114, and 6C6. You can take these colors and bring them to Adobe Color easily. Here you see this is the RGB, this is the value of the color, okay, the last one, and here is the X code. So I copy pasted the X code and now I have the color palette. Now this color palette, it's funny, it's cool, but I don't need it on Adobe Color, I need it in PowerPoint. How do I bring this color palette to PowerPoint? Easy. First thing, I have to put the windows one side to the other. How do I do that fast? Guys, Windows arrow, left arrow, right arrow. In this case, I did Windows right arrow. And by doing Windows right arrow, I'm moving to the right. Then I select PowerPoint, Windows left, and now I have the two windows, one next to the other. Okay, so Windows right, Windows left. Cool. Now that I am in this position, all I have to do is I prepare the circles to receive these colors. How do I get the colors from one side to the other? You might think, Maurizio, it's easy. I just copy paste the colors, the RGB from Adobe Color to PowerPoint. Yes, you could, but come on, guys. 235, whatever. So let me take this one, the green one. 13158. So I have to go here, go more fill colors. Then I have to go here. The first one is 13. Okay, I'm getting old, right? It's too long. So what I want to do is something faster. How do I do that? Well, I select my circles. Let me remove the outline because I just don't like it. Okay, I select one of them and I use what we call the eyedropper. Do you know what is the eyedropper? With the eyedropper, I can select another color somewhere in PowerPoint and I can apply to shape. By doing that, it will give me the color in the recent colors. So all I have to do is I select the eyedropper and I want to go and pick a color from Adobe Color. There is an issue though. Look, if I use the eyedropper to Adobe Color, look what happens. It's lost. How is that possible, guys? Here I have the eyedropper, but when I come here, I don't have the eyedropper. Guys, why is that? Well, the reason why so, it is because of a simple reason. It is because this is another application. So here we have to use a trick. And the trick is the following. Look at me. I click my eyedropper, but I don't release it. So I'm clicking, look at my hand. I'm clicking on my mouse, but I'm not releasing it, okay, clicking. Now I go to the other application and then I release. This is a cool trick that you can use to eyedrop colors from outside PowerPoint. I will do it again. So I select the eyedropper from the fill. I click. I do not release. I go here. I release. And now I have the second color imported. You see all the colors have been imported here. Now, there is one watch out, which is when you work with presentations, what happens is you might think that this green color is your main color because it's a branding color, okay? But what happens is when you work with presentations very often is that this green will go and become a little lighter or will become a little darker. And this happens on text, shapes, whatever. Now they're similar, but they're not the same. And so what happens is many times in your presentations, the branding colors is violated, it's ruined by different variations. For this reason, I invented a panel that is called the Color Manager. Basically, what it does, it lists me in a second panel here, all the colors I'm using in my presentation, and so I can replace the wrong colors on the go. How does it work? We know that this is, for example, let's say this is the branding color, the branding green that I want to use, and those are variations that are wrong variations. So all I have to do is select this X code here, Control C, copy. I go select this one, Control V, paste, enter the color. The other color has been replaced. It doesn't exist anymore. So every object with the other color associated in my presentation is now replaced, recolored. Now I go here, I recolor this one, and also this one is replaced. So now I see that my branding green is just one, which means that it is correct. My presentation is finally consistent. Okay, so this is also a powerful tool. I do that for colors. I do that for fonts as well, to align fonts in a presentation. Right. Now that I've shown you the techniques from today, I'm so excited to present you the case study. The case study, you know, at the end of my webinars, I always like to select a case study, a real case study from real world. I see many presentations, but when I can, I like to choose a presentation from you guys, you who are watching today. So I always go through the attendant list. I go to look at your companies, and I select one of them that I think is challenging enough, and I work on a case study from your company. The company that I chose today, it's called Meradia. It's a company, it's a very well-known company that works in consulting for investments, okay? And I liked it because they have a section in which what they share are case studies. And those case studies are very interesting. Let me see if I can find them again. I was browsing there before. Okay, case studies, you see. This is very interesting because case studies can create reliability, can show that you have a good experience and you are expert in your field. So case studies are very powerful tool. Therefore, this got my curiosity, and I went to explore the case studies. Now, the case studies are first described on the website, but the cool thing is that you can download them. You download the case study, and what you get is this. So I said, okay, this is challenging enough. Let's work on this one. So I started from a case study here. As you can see, this is a case study. It's basically split into 3 parts. Let me show you. The way they work is they have, let me share what I would think while solving this case study. The first thing that I would see is what about colors? About colors, this is the other case. So in this case, I'm not going to calculate colors because they have beautiful branding colors. They are fresh, they are modern. I like them. Actually, they contrast very well to each other. Nothing to say, I love them. And very likely, orange is the complementary of blue. Therefore, we already are on a color combination. So these guys have been working on colors with designers. Cool, we don't touch colors. What about copywriting? Well, copywriting needs rework. How can we optimize rework here? Well, how can we optimize the copywriting here? The first thing we do is we need to understand what's written into that. Now, I'm not going to be boring. I went through that before, and so I will give you a quick understanding of what I did. What I did, and these are my notes, is I analyzed what's in it. Now, guys, we're talking about case study, right? So case study, there are a few important things we need to show off. The thing we want to show off is, of course, the context. Now those guys are talking about the background, right? But within the background, in my opinion, there are too many important, valuable things that cannot be all mixed up together, because otherwise we are losing them. So what I thought is, let's understand them. The first sentence is Meradia's client, an independently owned investment advisor firm with approximately 60 billion asset under management. So this means that this part here, okay, is the client. Okay, this is the client. So is it part of the background? Yes, it is, but this is the client. Now, why is it important to highlight the client into a case study? In my opinion, it is important because this tells the potential client you are trying to acquire that you are talking to them. So a potential client can find himself and recognize himself within this industry, and therefore they can say, okay, these guys have already done something similar in my industry, therefore they know how to approach, they know what I'm doing, they know my job, and therefore they know how to work with me. Cool, client. The second thing is the goal. So they said, this client, in the same sentence, they said, needed to modernize their ability to manage market data, especially pricing data. Fine. This is written into a sentence, but this second sentence is too important to be mixed up with the first sentence. The second sentence is the goal. What do we want to achieve with our project? Okay. Of course, when you are taking a project, there is a challenge, right? Because it's not given, and that's why they hired an expert company of consultants like Meradia. Fine. So the challenge was this one. The firm existing data architecture consists of Excel-based processes to manage, download, review, and maintain important market data. So basically, summarizing it, they were managing a very complex amount of data coming from very different sources, manually in Excel, and eventually with the VBA macros. So this means that, of course, it's not scalable, it takes a lot of time, and it might expose them to risks. Probably when they talk about risks, I believe they're talking about, human mistakes. Everybody can make mistakes when we work manually, right? So I think this is what they're talking about. Now, this is a challenge. So in the first block, we already identified client, goal, and challenge. Why am I telling you this, guys? Because in my opinion, there is no presentation that can be effective. There is no design can help you out if you don't understand, if you don't put your brain into the text and you analyze what's in it. That's why every time I redesign a presentation, the first thing I do is I read and I try to understand. And then depending on what is the goal of my presentation, I understand how I can reorganize the copy first. The copy might be squeezed, might be reorganized. We can do many things on the copywriting. Fine. Now let's move to the second part. In the second part, what do we get here is the analysis. Now, I don't really love to call it analysis. Normally, when I present case studies, I prefer to call it intervention. It's what we have done, right? But anyway, they performed an analysis. Analysis is a part of what they've done. It's fine. Intervention, in my opinion, is a bit clearer, but it's a matter of how you prefer to address the word. And native English speakers might tell us better than me. Okay, in this case, what I like to say here is, what I like to see here is what they have done. So what they've done is they analyzed something, they discovered something, okay, because they analyzed, the analysis took them to discovery, and therefore identifying some things, and by identifying some things, then they moved on, and finally they basically examined the overall mess that this company had in place. So they did these three things, right? Those three things are the most important things that we need to say about the intervention. And finally, they get some results. Okay, I'm not going to go through the results. I already summarized them for you, but the idea is always the same. I'm going to summarize the key results. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide. In the next slide, what I did was I started reorganizing. Now, I'm not really redesigning it yet. This is not a redesign. Guys, let me tell you again, this is not a redesign. Not yet. We're going to do the redesign together, of course. What is that? This is a reorganization of the contents. It helps me to see how things can lay down on the slide, how I can place things around in my slide. So what I thought is, this is my first thought. First thing, I need space to distribute my contents, all right? So how can I value my contents? The first thing I do is I apply what is called the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds split the slide into 9 equal parts, but into thirds. So 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Now this is a powerful grid because it is set up on the golden ratio. And it allows me to create my slide, to reorganize my slide very powerfully. It's not the only grid we use. This is one of the grids that we use. Let's say it's the easiest one that we can use for business people. Is the one that I recommend because it's the easiest one. I'm reorganizing everything. So in the rule of thirds, and therefore I use 2/3 on my left-hand side for the contents, and then I will use 1/3 at the end for something that I find it's missing. Now we can argue about this, but what I find is missing in this case study is something that talks about Meradia. Because imagine, I'm a potential client, I download this case study, and I take this slide and I go to my boss to tell my boss we should call these guys, we should get in touch with these guys. So you have to look at what they've done. So you have the case study, but it would be nice also to have some information about the company itself. Now, of course, this slide is about case study. That's why I'm keeping 2/3, which is most of the space for the case study. And I will keep a small portion of the third to introduce company information. We'll get them afterwards, no worries for that. So what I do here is, the first thing is I first analyze the first part. Do you remember? Client goal and challenge. Okay, so this is client goal and challenge. The first box here is client goal and challenge. Now I also downloaded I was looking for some icons while I was waiting for you to connect. To look for the icons, I did use my tool here. You know that in my tool, I give you many icons. There are hundreds of icons.
And they're picking up.
There are hundreds of icons that I'm sharing with you. So I just went through the search and selected a few icons. Now what I'm doing here is I have to, of course, organize everything because it's a bit disorganized, as you can see. So the first thing I can do is redistribute the titles. Then I can stack titles and text underneath here. So goal, text, and text. Select everything, align everything, align the icons here, make them a bit smaller. They're too big, and I can then select the color for them. Not good enough. Let me see. I might want to use their blue. Yes, let's work consistently with their colors. So these will become their blue. So I'm working with their blue. It's very professional blue. I like it. Very well done, guys from Meradia. Now this is text. Fine. It's 10.5. It's big enough, but maybe too much. I think I can make it 10. It will be fine. I will keep it gray for us. For now, it's okay. Okay, so we have client goal challenge. Cool. Now, intervention. What they have done. What they have done is 3 things, as we said, and we want to highlight these 3 things. So what I'm going to do, I will first split this text box into different text boxes. Make sure that you always have different text boxes. It's much better to have clarity when you work. Now, I want to analyze the 3 things that they have done, and I want to make sure that you understand that what they've done is done by them. So I will use a second branding color, which in this case is this orange, which I find very cool. So they analyzed, then they identified, and then they examined. Very cool. Now I will make these boxes consistent, make sure that those are working. All right, gathering, okay. And we have the boxes here. Okay. Make sure that these boxes are consistent. Well, it's very easy. I will select them all. Actually, I select them all and I give all of them the same width here. Oh, I selected the icon. Sorry for that. My bad. one more icon here, same width. Okay, and so now they have all the same width, and I'm sure they are all consistent. Okay, cool. Now these are the three things that they've done. Let me stack them up. Okay, bring them here, and this is the intervention. Cool. So this is the intervention. I don't know why they have these long text boxes here. All right. And these are the intervention. Okay, so these are the three things that they have done. Okay. This, we put it aligned here. And we will see. Now, guys, I don't. If you're wondering, Maurizio, do you have the solution? No, I don't have it. I don't have it. I'm just playing around with the slide, thinking loud with you, and trying to assess the solution. So it might take some time to get to a solution that makes me concretely happy. But for now, what I want to do is not really get to the final solution. What I want to do is to show you how I would think in a real situation. So imagine you are shadowing me, which is, I think, one of the most powerful way to learn. And shadowing is a powerful way to learn, 100%. And I think it makes the difference. I learned a lot by shadowing very, very good presenters. And I think it's powerful way for you to learn, also because this is something that it's not easy. I mean, yes, you can get the recording, which is powerful, but I mean, you cannot be here all the time looking at me when I'm working, because otherwise this would be a bit stressful for me. I mean, I like to spend time with you guys, but you know, when I make my presentations, I like also to have my own time. Okay, I'm creating small circles here. Why? For a simple reason, because I want these icons to be a bit more consistent, a bit more visible. So I'm just creating these circles that will make my icons a bit more visible into and a bit more separated visually from, we can say, the rest of the slide itself. Okay, let me select another, Control D to duplicate it here. I'm bringing it back. So as you can see, I selected quite a quite complicated slide to solve. I mean, this is not as the slide I solved last time in my previous webinar. This is much more complicated, as you can understand. But I like to do something more challenging from time to time, because it keeps us awake and keeps me excited when I do these webinars. Therefore, it's cool. Okay, for the results, we do the same. Now we have a format, which is, oops, this is when I say make sure that everything is separated. For the results, we can do something even cooler. So let me show you. In this case, we have three things, 1, 2, and 3 here as well. So of course, I did I did rewrite some of the sentences, okay, to make them a bit more organized and effective. So as you can see, I strongly believe that making presentations requires you to put your brain at work, otherwise it won't be as effective as it could be. All right, so let me move on. Here it is. So in this case, this is the first result that they have achieved. This is the second result they have achieved. And this is the third result that they have achieved. The transition plan, minimizing the transition plan to minimize the impact, and so that I can get rid of this, and that. And so this can go, new line, polish, right. So these are the results that they have got. Let's say we want the results to be highlighted. I will work on that shortly. Here I will go and find an icon, goal. We can see actually target would work better. Yeah, the goal might be this one. Okay. So here I will just select my circle, duplicate it, bring my nice little flag in front here, and here we are. Now this is the first result. Yes, first result. But it's too complicated, too much text. So let me wrap it up. So this is the first result that they've got. And here we can work with small icons here as well, maybe. Let's see if that works. No, well, it doesn't because it's not consistent. So what I can do here now is creating highlights for the results. So I might want to make them standing on a different layer. So I might create backgrounds for them like this, for example. Yes, I could do that. Let me put the text straight away into the shape. There is no reason to keep it out from the shape. Okay, so this is one. And this could be the result. Okay. Then we have second one here and a third one here. So what I will do is I will just replicate. I'm not 100% sure that I love this idea here, but let's see if it works. If we will like it at the end. So this is also important when I design presentations. Most of the time, I'm not 100% sure that I like what I do first time, right? So I might like it, I might not like it, but I will see if it works at the end of the game. Okay, so this is the first one. Now this can be organized eventually on, so you see this one is a second sentence. I can put on a different, so let me get rid of some from the end. I can get rid of it, bring it there. Let's see, sometimes I like to do this. Let's see if it works for us in this case. So these two, of course, they have to have same sizes. Stack and make them similar. Okay. So sometimes I like to use columns. It organized the text in a nice and polished way. This is a nice technique that you can use sometimes, can help you out. All right. Let me see. Make the alignment. Okay, and now I can do the same for the others. Okay, and so this is basically now just repeating. Doesn't take too long at this point because we have the layout here. Okay, so in this case I created the first one, just create the others, and I do the second and the third one. I select this, and this. I make them the same size. And then I just make them stacked here. I go here, and then I go here, and I make these. No, this is too big. This and this, same size. Yeah. Oops. Align them bottom, bring them here, and those could be the results that these guys have achieved through their brilliant consulting work. Okay. Distribute. Align, fine, now this is cool. Okay, now this could be the case study, right? It's a bit more visual. Now, am I done? Not yet, because I would, of course, highlight keywords here. So what I would do is this. I would highlight keywords, and therefore, modernize price, data processes, challenging, I consider Excel-based processes, and so on. Produce include functional specifications, context data flow, diagrams, conceptuals, models, minimize impact, operational efficiency, lower risk, and the current state of the market data along with current state. 10 different daily processes, identify 10 manual processes, and examine user to picture use patterns. Okay, now this is, of course, this has to be validated with them. I'm not expert of their industry, of course, but I'm trying to understand what these guys do. Now, here, what I would talk about is about them, something about them, about Meradia itself. So what can we put there? Well, by the way, I don't really love these. This could be done differently eventually. So, well, yes, so I could work on the title could be maybe, let me see, this could be a bit bigger, yes, and this could be case study here, right? And here we can use their secondary color, which might be working very well like this. Okay, now this is a bit more professional. Okay, here we talk about them. So we go to their website and let's see the way they talk about themselves. So we go to their website, we find some information. Okay. Okay, so blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let's say I'm taking this just for fun, just for having some text to put into this box. Then, of course, we can optimize with the guys. Okay, so this is the text I'm integrating into this side box. This is fine, but this is not enough, guys. Watch out, because I mean, yes, this is okay, some text, but I believe we can do more. So, okay, so this is the first sentence. This is the fact that they have been doing that for quite a while, and therefore we can make everything stand out. Okay, cool. So this could be what they do. Now some highlights. This is perfect. Okay, 20 plus years, 92%, 25 years. Very good. So we can get these three and we can use them here. How would I use them? Well, let me think. We can do something like this and we can make them a bit smaller. Ciao, Douglas, no worries. I know we've gone a little longer, but I like to finish, so no worries. I'll see you at the Startup Incubator. No worries. Okay, so this is their first achievement. Second achievement here. They have another achievement here. This is, and this is another achievement here. All right. Okay. Very good. So these are three of their achievements. We can work them out. I could put them, for example, vertical. Yeah, I could verticalize them, making them a bit bigger, making them a bit a bit better distributed. And now here I could have some nice icons that I could use. This is identifying us as Meradia. How do we do that? We can create, I want to show you also very important effect in a second. I will show you an effect that will make a big difference, I believe. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, just go behind. And here we go. This is the flag for the first one. Here we are. This one, we make it blue, so they are blue. Actually, we can make it orange. Let's see if it works. Reflects them a bit better. Yes, contrasts a bit. So here we are, 1, 2, and 3 flags. And here we have the result. Still a bit small, I do believe, but it's okay, they will make it. Okay, the second thing I want to do is picture. Now, is there a picture that represents them? Not sure. Maybe this one, maybe this one. Let's see if this one will work. Okay, this one might represent them. Let's suppose it does. So I select, look at this technique, guys. This is called the transparent box techniques. So I select the box first, the image, then I make them the same size. I make sure that they are aligned, and then I bring it back, and then I go to the box and I apply it some transparency. So let me apply transparency to this box, and here it is, transparency. Oh no, this is cool. This is very cool, but it's too much. All right, so okay, not bad, not bad. Now, therefore, since it came to my mind to apply this technique, we might want to apply this technique to the circles as well. And let me do that. I will apply it to the circles. We put something like, let me see, could be 50%, something like that. Yeah, it's a bit more elegant. Okay, nice. So we have a bit of story, a bit of results. Now this should be long enough. Yes. Right. Now this ends up here. Therefore, I need to move this a bit farther on. Okay. Okay. And we are almost done with our project. What we need to do is make sure that everything is aligned. Yes, it is. And we miss one last thing, guys, which is very important, I believe, which is contacts. Okay, contacts is important because imagine the situation in which they are sharing this slide so again, you get this slide, you want to share it with the boss because it's a potential opportunity to get in touch with these guys, and therefore this could be their email. We can just put it here for now. I could also find an icon and work it a little bit more, but since we're heading towards the end of the webinar, I think I will just stop here. Okay, let's look at the effect of what we have done together. Now, so this was before, this is the current case study that they're distributing, and let me make it a bit bigger for you to see how it is, so that we can compare one and the other. All right, and here we go. So this is today, and this is our analysis, and this is tomorrow. Maybe we can squeeze a bit things towards the center, a little bit more. I always do recommend you guys try the slide out all the time. It's better to try the slide out so you can understand if something needs to be squeezed within the slide. You can only understand when you project it. And so now I'm projecting it. That's why I've got to this intuition. Okay, so all of these, of course, need to be aligned, and we are done. Let me share it with you once again so that we can concretely appreciate the final result together. Okay, and this is the final design. Again, this was before, and this is afterwards. So, okay, so it's not bad. What I would do as a next step would be to create a master for it. You know, you can go in the slide master. Now, slide master is quite a tough topic, but it can be explored in further webinars. I will do a webinar dedicated to slide master for sure. It's such an interesting topic because I could create a layout for that. So I could create a layout that could all the time be replicated. So you could just go into the slide master, prepare this layout so that every time that people in Meradia has to create that case study, or they can just go and type in information and everything is pre-designed. So this is often I do that for case studies. Case study is a common slide that I redesign, especially for my clients. So this happens very often. For the guys from Meradia, since you have given us the opportunity to do this today, thanks to your beautiful branding, I would say this is a gift, so you can have it if you like. Just text me into the chat and into the webinar, and you will get the slide if you like it. If not, this has just been a nice exercise. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me wrap it up. We have gone through the color palette with Adobe Color. We have learned a powerful trick that is called the focus effect. So the first part was dedicated always to the techniques. I always like to dedicate the first part of the webinar to the techniques. And the second part has been dedicated to a real case study live, which I find very exciting. It's a lot of fun doing that in streaming because it's concrete. The webinar registration will be available. I will follow up by email, send you the link. It will be available on our LinkedIn group, on our LinkedIn page, and on our YouTube channel. So you will find it and you can go through it as many times as you like. I'll be here for a few more minutes for you. If you have any question, I'm available to answer. If not, it has been really a pleasure having you today. Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to meeting you in class for those who are following the course with me, and to the next webinar next month. Thank you very much for the time you dedicated to me today.
Grazie Maurizio, buona serata.
Grazie Andrea, ciao.
Ciao.
Laurie, it has been a pleasure working for you tonight. If you believe this could be of valuable to you, I will happily send it out by email. It's completely fine. You can get it as part of the exercise, so no problem at all. My pleasure having you here, actually.
Yes, I was thinking that you'd make me remake it as homework.
Well, I hope I didn't cut anything crucial from the case study. I'm not an expert in your industry, but I found it very interesting and quite challenging because of the two reasons. The first one is because the topic is quite technical, and so it's not easy. It's not like that. You just read and understand. You really have to think about it. And so my message is always, guys, when we redesign slides, you have to put your brain at work. And so first analyze what's in it and try to understand. Now, again, I'm not an expert of the industry, so I might have got something wrong, but overall, I think that we could convey key messages accordingly to your brand. So I didn't violate the colors. I've been a good boy today. So, but also because I think that they are very powerful colors and for presentations. So yeah, thank you very much for being here.
There are several of us at Maurizio who are big fans of your toolbar. And I was surprised.
I know. I think we've been talking together, right, about it. Yeah, sure. I don't know where the conversation stopped, but I promise I will go in the emails and I will check it out. If I hope I answered to everything.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, cool. So I will check it out, and eventually I'd be happy to talk to you.
We'll figure it out.
Yes.
Thank you, Maurizio.
Thank you, Laurie. It's been a pleasure. Ciao, guys. Ciao, Francesco. Ciao, Stefano. Yes, Stefano, can you please share the link to your menu, to your ribbon menu? Stefano, yeah, 100%, no problem at all. If you go to my website, mauriziolacava.com is my website. There is a PowerPoint add-in here, menu. I'm linking it into the chat. Here you go. This is the link to my toolbar. You can find it here. There is a free trial for a week. Go and check it out. Let me know if you need something. Maria Rita, thank you very much. I think you already left, but in the registration, I thanked you. Okay. Ilaria, haha, what a pleasure having you here. Okay, thank you. Stefano, I hope I answered the question. Ok. Ok, ragazzi, penso che siamo rimasti solo italiani. Se avete ancora qualche domanda, io sono a disposizione. Se no, direi che per stasera abbiamo concluso la settimana con un bel po' di lavoro. Ok, ragazzi, grazie mille. È stato davvero un piacere avervi qui. Ah, Stefano, vedo che tu stai scrivendo, scusami. Pensavo volessi... Ah, ok, perfetto, era soltanto un grazie, ci mancherebbe, beh, grazie a te. Se hai qualche domanda, vuoi fare un unmute o anche solo per un saluto, io sono ancora qui, non c'è nessun problema. Ok, va bene. Va bene, ragazzi, allora una buona serata e un meraviglioso weekend. Ciao a tutti.